Our first story comes from Reddit user Haunted Jess, who experienced something unexplainable in their own home. This eerie encounter left them questioning the very nature of reality. It began one quiet evening when they were walking down the hallway to their bedroom, a routine they had done countless times before. The house was silent, the only sound the soft hum of the refrigerator. The stillness of the night seemed almost too perfect. As Haunted Jess reached the middle of the hallway, they noticed something peculiar. It was as if the air itself had changed. The air grew heavy, a shiver danced down their spine, and an instinctive feeling of unease washed over them. It was a sensation they couldn't ignore. They paused, listening intently, but the silence remained unbroken. The quiet was almost deafening, amplifying their anxiety. Just as they were about to dismiss the feeling, they saw it. A fleeting movement out of the corner of their eye. It was quick, almost imperceptible. A shadow, darker than the surrounding darkness, darted across the wall at the end of the hallway. It moved with an unnatural speed. Heart-pounding, Haunted Jess froze, their gaze fixed on the spot where the shadow had vanished. They couldn't believe their eyes. The hairs on the back of their neck stood on end, and a cold sweat prickled their skin. Fear gripped them tightly. They strained their ears, listening for any sound, any indication of what might have caused the shadow. Silence. The tension was unbearable. Slowly, cautiously, Haunted Jess crept forward, each step heavy with dread. They felt as if they were walking through a nightmare. They reached the end of the hallway and stood before their bedroom door. The door seemed to loom larger than usual. Their hand trembled as they reached for the doorknob, their mind racing with possibilities. What could be waiting on the other side? Taking a deep breath, they pushed open the door and quickly flicked on the light switch. The light flooded the room. The room was empty. Nothing appeared to be out of place. Everything was as it should be. Shaken but determined to find a rational explanation, Haunted Jess scoured the hallway, but their search yielded nothing. The mystery remained unsolved. Our second story comes from a truck driver who thought they were doing a good deed by picking up a hitchhiker late one rainy night. Little did he know this act of kindness would lead to a night he would never forget. The road was empty, and the figure stood in the pouring rain, soaked to the bone. The hitchhiker's silhouette was barely visible through the sheets of rain. The truck driver, a seasoned veteran, felt a pang of sympathy and pulled over. He had seen many hitchhikers in his time, but something about this one seemed different. As the hitchhiker climbed into the cab, the truck driver noticed something strange about their eyes. They were unlike any eyes he had ever seen before. They seemed to gleam with an unnatural intensity, almost as if they were glowing in the dark. Despite the unsettling feeling, the truck driver simply nodded in greeting and asked the hitchhiker their destination. He tried to shake off the eerie feeling creeping up his spine. The hitchhiker's voice was a low, raspy whisper, barely audible above the roar of the engine. It was as if they were struggling to speak. They gave a nearby town as their destination, and the truck driver continued on his route. The rain continued to pour, creating a rhythmic drumming on the roof of the cab. As they drove, the truck driver stole glances at his passenger in the rearview mirror. Each glance only heightened his unease. The hitchhiker sat motionless, their head tilted down, their face obscured by the shadows of their hood. It was as if they were hiding something. The miles ticked by and the rain showed no sign of abating. The truck driver felt a growing sense of dread with each passing mile. The truck driver tried to engage the hitchhiker in conversation, but their attempts were met with only grunts and mumbled responses. It was as if the hitchhiker was deliberately avoiding interaction. Suddenly the hitchhiker leaned forward, their voice a harsh whisper, pointing ahead to a dimly lit road. "Turn here," they rasped. The command sent a chill down the truck driver's spine. The truck driver, confused, explained that the road didn't lead to the town the hitchhiker had mentioned. He tried to reason with the hitchhiker, but his words seemed to fall on deaf ears. The hitchhiker insisted, their voice growing more urgent, demanding that the truck driver turn onto the desolate road. The tension in the cab was palpable, and the truck driver felt a sense of impending doom. Chapter 3. The Abandoned Asylum. Our final story comes from a group of friends who dared to explore an abandoned asylum, a place shrouded in mystery and fear. The building had been empty for decades, its windows boarded up, its walls crumbling, and its history almost forgotten. Local legend whispered of unspeakable horrors that had transpired within its walls, tales that sent shivers down the spine of anyone who heard them. Undeterred by the tales, the group of friends decided to spend the night in the asylum, seeking thrills and perhaps a glimpse of the supernatural. Armed with flashlights, they stepped over the dilapidated threshold and into the building's shadowy depths, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. The air inside was thick with the smell of decay and dust, a testament to the many years it had been left to rot. As they ventured deeper into the asylum's labyrinthine corridors, the darkness seemed to press in, almost as if it were alive. They explored decaying rooms, each one a chilling snapshot of a life interrupted, filled with remnants of a bygone era. Rusted beds lay stripped bare, medical equipment gathered dust, and faded messages scrawled on the walls hinted at the anguish and despair that once filled the halls. As the night wore on, the group began to experience strange and unsettling phenomena, their initial bravado giving way to genuine fear. Unexplained noises echoed through the deserted hallways, footsteps, whispers, and disembodied screams, each sound more terrifying than the last. And so we conclude our journey into the heart of darkness. The stories we have shared tonight are but a glimpse into the vast and unsettling world of the paranormal. As you turn off your screens and prepare for slumber, remember these tales. The next time you hear a creak in the night or see a fleeting shadow, ask yourself, is it just your imagination or is it something more?